From ABC, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening. We begin tonight with the unemployed. 91,000 more Americans lost their jobs last month, and while the overall unemployment rate in January, 7.1%, the highest in 6 years, did not change from December, most of those who managed to buck the trend and find a job were forced to settle for lower pay or part-time employment. And it was under that kind of pressure that President Bush, on his way home from California today, signed the bill that will give 2 million Americans another 13 weeks of unemployment benefits. Our first report is from our economics editor, Stephen Ogg.
In Ashland, Kentucky today, about 2,000 people showed up to apply for just 25 jobs.
I believe if I get an interview, I can make it. Just getting the final cut will be the hardest part.
Unemployment well, it's rampant here. We have high unemployment. I think the number of turnout that we have today is indicative of that.
The situation in Ashland mirrors what has happened elsewhere, in Southern California and in Chicago. As of last month, more than 3 million Americans had been unemployed for 15 weeks or more, about 50% more people than January a year ago. What's more, 6.7 million people who want full-time work could find only part-time jobs. But the situation may be even worse than that, because the government has underestimated the number of lost jobs. The Labor Department says that since the recession began, 1.5 million jobs have been lost. But it will soon correct those figures to show more than 2 million jobs actually disappeared. The reason is that the Labor Department did not realize that so few jobs are being created to replace the ones going away.
In previous recessions, the service sector and retail trade were unaffected. In fact, in the 1981-82 recession, we actually saw job growth in the service sector and in retail trade even during the course of the recession.
But the service industries, especially retailing, are losing jobs much faster than the government figured they would. Factories also continue to lose jobs. This morning, General Dynamics announced another 2,200 layoffs from the electric boat division in Groton, Connecticut, where they make nuclear submarines. And there are more layoffs ahead.
Everybody's worried. You know, they know it's coming. They're all worried about it.
Especially the older guys. They're going to have a hard time finding new jobs after it's been closed down, you know. Who wants them?
Employers do not usually begin rehiring until well after business picks up. So even if the economy started to get better tomorrow, it could be months before many of today's unemployed are back at work. Stephen Ogg, ABC News, New York.
In economics, as in most everything else in life, there are exceptions to the rule. As you know, there's a great national debate underway about health care in America. Who should be covered? How much should it cost? About one thing, there is little debate. Health care workers are not among those on the unemployment lines. Here's ABC's Ken Kashiwahara.
It is an industry that doesn't know the meaning of recession. More than 600,000 new jobs in the past year. And in the next 15 years, the prognosis is that health care will grow twice as fast as the rest of the economy.
1 out of every 6 jobs that we see in the economy between now and the year 2005 will be a healthcare-related job.
The business of caring for the sick is booming because America's population is getting older and requires more medical care, and because new medical technology requires more workers to operate and maintain sophisticated equipment.
1, 2, 3.
But job opportunities in such fields as home health care, radiology, and physical therapy are growing so rapidly, many facilities report severe worker shortages. And except for emergencies, that means many patients are forced to delay treatment.
Pelvic tilt first and pull up.
So hospitals and universities are mounting aggressive recruiting campaigns for physical therapists and other healthcare workers. Kaiser Hospital in Redwood City, California, found Vanessa Joyner on the welfare rolls, trained her as a surgical technician, and now pays her $13 an hour.
We refer to this as 22 autosomes and 6 chromosomes.
And a college nursing course for people who want to switch careers attracted Susan Alquist. She spent 15 years working for banks and worried about being laid off. She doesn't worry anymore.
And I know that no matter how bad things get, I have a skill that can be used anywhere in the United States.
But some economists say too many jobs are being created because of inefficiency and waste that contribute to skyrocketing healthcare costs. Workers hired to fill out complicated insurance forms or to perform unnecessary and expensive diagnostic tests. But the demand for medical care in America is so great, few expect the skyrocketing costs to be contained anytime soon. So job openings will continue to increase, while the healthcare industry struggles to fill them. Ken Kashiwahara, ABC News, San Francisco.
On Wall Street today, the Dow Jones Industrials lost 30 points to close at 32.25. The trading was heavy. For the whole week, stocks gained 2 points. In a moment, Mike Tyson defends himself against charges of rape. The Winter Olympics in Albertville, it's a whole new world. And our person of the week, repaying a debt.
Our dentist recommended baking soda.
But we wanted tartar control.
Arm & Hammer Dental Care gives us both.
Brushing with baking soda or a baking soda toothpaste is recommended by 2 out of 3 dentists to help provide healthy teeth and gums.
New Arm & Hammer Dental Care Tartar Control.
From the baking soda experts.
Flu epidemic declared. Entire U.S. affected. What will you do? Doctors recommend TheraFlu, hot liquid medicine that works fast. TheraFlu, strong therapy for flu symptoms.
Introducing the new Ford Taurus and the button. The new Taurus now offers remote radio controls, express down power windows, and better night visibility. Because when it comes to convenience, we push all the right buttons.
Now's the time for Centrum Silver, because you're over 50 and you're out there swinging. Centrum Silver, a complete vitamin formula for your changing nutritional needs. Centrum Silver, it's a great time to be silver.
While he was in California today, President Bush made another pitch for his health care plan. After touring a family health center in San Diego, the president asked business leaders to support his proposals and reject Democratic plans, which he called a prescription for failure. On the general subject of politics, it's a week and a half before the first primary in New Hampshire. We're going to spend a lot of time next week focusing on the candidates and the issues. In the meantime, the results of a new ABC News Washington Post poll, which should give candidates generally in the country some reason to take heart. Potential voters care a lot about the race. Here's ABC's Jeff Greenfield.
In recent elections, much of the talk has been about a process gone wrong, about voters not turning out because they're turned off.
Hi, good to see you. Thanks for being here.
But this year, as the first presidential primary approaches, Americans seem to be less cynical about politics than we might have thought. At least that's what they've told us in the new poll. Is politics a turnoff? 72% think the campaign will be interesting, not boring. That same big majority thinks this presidential campaign will be about the biggest problems facing the country. And 62% say the candidates will talk about things voters really care about.
I think they'll be offering something much clearer than we've gotten in the past, yes.
Why?
Because I think they feel the confusion of the country.
Another sign of relative optimism about the coming elections. With all the talk about negative campaigns, 51% of those we asked think this year's campaign will be more positive than past ones. And 60% have at least a good amount of interest in the upcoming presidential primaries.
A lot of mystery there, a lot of excitement, and should prove to be interesting.
And do Americans really think it won't make much difference whom we choose as president? Not according to our poll.
Well, of course it's going to make a difference. The president is a chief executive of this country, and we need to have a strong man in these difficult times.
Yes, it will make a difference. We need a president who's going to put Congress into action. Get Congress moving on, make some changes in this country.
There is still some skepticism in the land. Most people we talk to say the candidates will not be offering new ideas about solving the country's big problems. And it is true that people sometimes tell pollsters what they think they should be saying, not what's really in their hearts. But the poll does clearly suggest that this season, the public may be more inclined to listen, and to listen to substance, than the politicians or the media realize. Jeff Greenfield, ABC News, New York.
In other news today, there's not going to be any more cut-rate vacations for senior government officials in the national parks. Judges, members of Congress, and others have long been able to stay at private lodges in some of the nation's most beautiful parks for next to nothing. The Interior Department has now said that's enough. There was a major court victory today for the Honeywell Corporation, which makes, among other things, an autofocus camera lens. A federal court has ruled that the Japanese company Minolta illegally used Honeywell's lens on its Maxim cameras. Minolta is going to have to pay Honeywell $96 million. In Indianapolis today, the former heavyweight champion Mike Tyson took the witness stand to defend himself against a charge of rape. Tyson denied that he raped a contestant in the Miss Black America beauty pageant last July. ABC's Chris Bury is in Indianapolis.
Appeared glum as he arrived today to tell his side of the story.
On the stand, Tyson said he had been explicit about what he wanted from the moment he met the young woman at the Indianapolis pageant. I explained to her I wanted her, Tyson said, wanted to have sex with her. Tyson said the woman then gave him her phone number. He picked her up in his limo and returned to his hotel after 1 in the morning of July 19th. In his room, Tyson testified, they kissed, undressed, and had oral sex. At one point, Tyson said, she told me to stop, indicating she wanted to have sexual intercourse. Did you have intercourse? Asked Tyson attorney Vincent Fuller. Yes, replied Tyson. After that, Tyson testified, the young woman left, upset because he refused to walk her downstairs. A parade of pageant contestants have testified for the defense that Tyson was flirting, fondling, and delivering sexual come-ons while at the Miss Black America pageant to tape a promotion.
I'm in a dream, day after day. Beautiful women in such an array.
The defense suggestion, Tyson's sexual overtures were so well known that the contestant who accused him must have realized what to expect. But on the stand, Tyson's 18-year-old accuser appeared a composed and credible witness. She testified Tyson pinned her to the bed, stripped her, raped her, and laughed while she cried in pain and begged him to stop. Tyson will take the stand again tomorrow and face cross-examination. But in the absence of convincing physical evidence, this trial, like most accusations of date rape, is coming down to a matter of his word against hers. Chris Bury, ABC News, Indianapolis.
We'll be back in just a moment.
I found a safer aspirin. Ecotrin.
For minor arthritis pain, Ecotrin's orange coating makes it safer to your stomach than plain or buffered aspirin.
So I'm not concerned taking even the maximum dose.
The safer aspirin, that's Ecotrin, and that's the truth.
There's lots of ways to have garlic. The Kwai difference is the consistency of garlic qualities of this easy-to-swallow tablet. There's no better way to have garlic than odor-free Kwai.
Millions of Europeans have been taking Kwai odor-free garlic tablets for years. It's part of their daily diet.
Kwai is odor-free and so easy to swallow.
Kwai is available at quality drugstores, health and natural food stores, and general nutrition centers. Kwai, science and nature working for you.
You know, I can still remember the very first candy given to me by my grandfather. It was Werther's original, and I was 4. I had a little trouble opening that shiny golden wrapper, but then, well, I'll never forget that first taste. Sweet and creamy and just plain good. But there was something else, too. I remember feeling I must be somebody very special when my grandpa gave me his wonderful butter candy. So, now I'm the grandfather. And what else would I give my little grandson but my Werther's original? He's somebody special, too.
Some of the international news: after years of covering up the extent of its nuclear weapons program, Pakistan has now apparently come clean. Pakistan's foreign secretary has told the Washington Post that his country does have the components and the know-how to build a nuclear bomb. He says there are no plans to do so. From South Africa this week, a new government study which says that the number of attacks against black South Africans by whites has increased quite dramatically. The government has an explanation. Now that the racial segregation laws are being eliminated, whites have become increasingly resentful and scared of losing their privileged position. ABC's Don Kladstrup tonight on the evidence of that resentment.
For white South Africa, it's a nightmare come true. Nearly 8 million black squatters converging on areas that used to be reserved for whites. When the government announced plans to resettle several thousand squatters from this gully to a strip of land virtually across the street from this white suburban Johannesburg neighborhood, reaction was swift. Up went the roadblocks, out came the clubs, and a few other things.
I picked my gun up again, and my wife's carrying her gun, and if necessary, I'll go and get another damn gun, because that's the only way I'm going to be safe.
White residents insist racism has nothing to do with it, that blacks are welcome as long as they meet community standards.
You buy your property and you play by the rules.
How can they afford to buy the property?
The way I did.
But they don't have any jobs.
That's not my problem.
It's becoming everyone's problem. With the scrapping of laws which for decades allowed blacks to work in cities but not live in them, millions of squatters are now camped almost literally on white South Africa's doorstep.
In effect, what's happened is the walls of Jericho have fallen, and people are going to come in.
Demanding better housing, running water and electricity, which the government plans to provide the squatters. But when officials tried to explain their plan to white residents, they were shouted down.
They negotiated behind our backs.
The dilemma facing Blobesrand is the same facing whites throughout the country. How to meet the demands of blacks without sacrificing their standard of living. Residents here say their property values have plummeted 40% since the controversy erupted.
They're going to come in here, and it's basically slum conditions, and it's going to detract completely from what we've got here.
White vigilantes have begun patrolling the area with clubs.
It's nothing compared to an AK-47, but I die for my cause to keep these heathens out of my area.
The squatters worry what will happen next. Many work as maids and gardeners for white people.
We live with them, we working for them, but they don't want us next to them.
But given the sheer number of squatters in South Africa, communities like Blobesrand may not have any choice. Don Cladstrup, ABC News, Blobesrand.
Still overseas, the United Nations says the food shortage is getting worse for the Kurds in northern Iraq. The UN says it would like to take food in by truck from Turkey, but Iraq won't let the UN carry enough fuel to make the return trip. In Algeria, supporters of the country's largest Islamic political party have defied the government again and held demonstrations in a number of cities. Government troops finally used bullets and tear gas to break the demonstrations up, and at least 9 people were killed. When we come back, the Winter Olympics in France. New games, new faces, new countries.
Have you had your V8 today? Did you know that V8 juice has less than half the calories of that apple?
Wow!
Did you know that V8 has more vitamins A and C than that tossed salad?
Wow!
And did you know that V8 is 100% vegetable juice, so it has no fat, unlike that low-fat yogurt?
Wow!
So how do you feel now that you know these things? Wow! I gotta have a V8. V8 is a nutritious blend of 8 vegetable juices that taste terrific. Have you had your V8 today?
Cutbacks continue.
Recession.
Politicians.
Crime. Pollution.
Daycare. Not having any time.
Job insecurity.
You never needed it more. A new extra-strength pain reliever made to get today's tough headaches before they really get you. 1,000 milligrams, stomach guard, and the name Bayer. That should ease your mind. Introducing new extra-strength Bayer Plus. For headaches, now there's no pain you can't bear.
If you're looking to maintain regularity, look here. There's a drug-free way to do it. And Kellogg's All Brand can be an important part. Because a high-fiber diet, including Kellogg's All Brand, can give you the fiber you need for drug-free regularity. See the recipe on the box for another way to enjoy Kellogg's All Brand. All Brand muffins. All that fiber, all that great taste.
Imagine a rent-a-car company that offers special delivery right to your door. That's Enterprise.
Here, let me help you.
Enterprise, a special rent-a-car company that gives you special delivery.
Nighttime, one of the worst times for pain. That's why you need new ultra-strength Bengay with more pain relievers than we've ever had. Fast relief for muscle aches and minor arthritis pain. With new ultra-strength Bengay, you can say goodnight to your pain.
Well, the Winter Olympic Games are set to begin tomorrow in and all around the town of Albertville in the French Alps. A lot has changed in the 4 years since the last Winter Olympics. You might even think of these games as the first major sports event of the new world order. ABC's Dick Schaap is in France.
Sprawling among 600 square miles of alpine peaks and valleys that have barely changed for centuries, the Winter Olympic Games have been altered drastically. There are new medal sports. Freestyle skiing moguls, for instance, in which Donna Weinbrecht is considered the surest American bet for a gold medal. And there are new nations, Latvia, for instance, and Croatia, celebrating their independence. The 2 countries whose teams dominated recent Winter Games no longer exist. East Germany and the Soviet Union are gone, their flags stilled, their anthems silenced.
They're exactly the same people. It's just that they're under a different flag, that's all.
The possibility of massive snowstorms and matching traffic jams is as much a part of the Albertville Games as the Alps themselves. But the emphasis, as always, is on athletes, on human dramas, such as Dan Jansen. Twice during the 88 games, in races he had a chance to win, Jansen fell.
Oh, no! I don't believe it.
Once before his sister died of cancer, once after. Jansen is back and a favorite for a gold medal.
Yeah, when I was young, my dad always told me that there is more important things in life than skating around in a circle, and I don't know that I fully believed that until 1988 and then what happened to me then.
The spotlight is also on a rookie bobsled pusher named Herschel Walker, the veteran football player who, despite only one bobsled race in his life, thinks he too can strike gold.
I didn't come way over here just to wear a uniform. You know, I came over here to win.
With Olympic champion Bonnie Blair favored to win 1 or 2 gold medals in speed skating, with A.J. Kitt a contender in downhill racing, and Christy Yamaguchi a threat in figure skating, the U.S. could win almost as many medals as any nation. But, ironically, the battle among nations no longer seems so significant.
I think maybe it's evolving to the way it should be, where athletes are competing without regard to the nationality. Maybe that's the way it's supposed to be.
In other words, the new games may recall the spirit of the ancient games. Dick Schaap, ABC News, Albertville.
We'll be back in just a moment.
World News Tonight with Peter Jennings and the Person of the Week are brought to you by Tylenol.
Because some aches and pains don't go away when the lights go out, we've created Tylenol PM, specially formulated with extra-strength Tylenol pain reliever for those aches and pains that can keep you up at night, plus a gentle ingredient to help you sleep, so you can wake up refreshed in the morning. From the name you trust comes Tylenol PM, so you can rest easy.
Where do you want to be in 10 years?
Detroit to Minneapolis, Minneapolis to Detroit. That's not why I became a pilot. I'll tell you the run I want. St. Thomas to Saba Island. In my own Grumman Mallard. Call it Dave's Airways. That's what I want for my investments. Now, how do we do it?
You can get there from here with Shearson Lehman Brothers.
Doctors know there's a flaw in eggs. They're high in cholesterol, and diets high in cholesterol and fat can contribute to heart disease. Fleischmann's Egg Beaters are 99% real egg with 0 cholesterol and 0 fat. Egg Beaters, eggs without the flaw.
Call me a trendsetter, but I was eating wheat thins before people knew why they were baked and not fried. Now everybody knows who needs a greasy chip, right? Besides, wheat thins are delicious. Delicious is still in, isn't it?
Do models need breast implants to get to the top? Beauty in the breast.
I wasn't born with them, so...
Plus, drugged with LSD, beaten with baseball bats, teachers battered by students. Watch 2020 tonight.
Finally this evening, our Person of the Week. We have chosen a very rich man this week. What he has done with his money tells us a lot about him. Who he is and where he has come from tells us a lot about the country.
I consider this $10 million pledge to Shaw University as a small down payment on a large debt. I guess what I'm doing is...
Willie Gary has never forgotten how tough it was for him to get to Shaw University. Today, he is one of Florida's most successful attorneys, but he has not forgotten those people along the way who helped him make it. Willie Gary's gift to his alma mater, a black college in Raleigh, North Carolina, will go a long way to help today's students in need find a place to learn.
The gift is just a tremendous boost to Shaw in every way, to provide scholarships for students, to enhance faculty development, to build new facilities.
America's black colleges have struggled for decades to make ends meet. Major donors like Willie Gary are a recent phenomenon.
The Willie Garys of the world
are usually the first generation to go to college. And it is only now in the 1990s that we are producing people who are empowered through education, who are now accumulating wealth, and who are now reaching back, going back, and giving back.
I almost didn't get the show. I almost didn't go to college because my parents couldn't afford to pay my way.
Willie Gary was one of 11 children born to Mary and Turner Gary, who were migrant farm workers.
There was a mulberry tree right over here because
the entire family shared this 3-room shack in central Florida when they were not out in the fields picking corn or beans or oranges.
We had to leave the schoolhouse on a labor bus and go straight to the bean fields. So I knew I always wanted to get an education, even though the deck was stacked against me.
Like so many children growing up poor in America, Willie Gary thought sports would be his ticket out. He was offered a football scholarship if he made the team at a small college in Daytona, Florida. He didn't make the team.
I had tears in my eyes, and I said, Coach, I said, I want to go to college. I'll do anything. I'll be the water boy. I'll do whatever it takes.
It didn't work in Daytona, but a high school coach suggested an old friend at Shaw University who might help. Willie immediately got on the bus to North Carolina, even though he hadn't applied for the university.
I went on to the coach's office, and he said, well, son, we have too many players here already, so, and I don't have any equipment for you anyway, even if I want to give you a tryout. I said to myself then, I don't care what it takes. This is my last chance. I'm staying.
And so Willie Gary cleaned the locker room, slept on a sofa, and ate whatever leftover food was given to him by some of the players. But finally, because someone was injured, and because someone else cared, Willie actually made the team. The coach helped him to apply for a scholarship. Willie rose to defensive captain and married his sweetheart, Gloria. He went on to law school at North Carolina Central. As a lawyer specializing in personal injury and malpractice, Gary went for 7 years without losing a case.
You know, I hate to lose. Because every time I walk in the courtroom, I feel that I'm supposed to win. But I'm willing to burn the midnight oil to get the job done.
If you have a burning desire to excel.
Today, a very rich man, Willie Gary spends much of his time talking to underprivileged kids.
We don't just need lip service. We need role models.
As for himself, as far as Willie Gary is concerned, you can't do all the lecturing unless you put your money on the line.
It's a good feeling. I feel that what we're doing for Shaw University is just a way of saying thank you for having done so much for us.
And so we choose Willie Gary, the first in his family to go to college. He says the decision to study law was natural because all the injustice done to migrant workers was so deeply ingrained in his mind. His wife says he doesn't care about money, just about helping. He'd give away our house if I let him. That's our report on World News Tonight. I'm Peter Jennings. Have a good weekend. We'll see you Monday. Good night.
From the best-selling author of Presumed Innocent.
I wouldn't say too much if I were you.
Well, you go to hell.
The story of a man on the edge.
You're going to tell me, Dixon, what the hell is wrong with you, Stern?
Tell me!
Victoria Principal, Brian Dennehy, Mel Harris, and Hector Elizondo, Scott Turo's The Burden of Proof, Sunday at 9/8 Central.
At Big Sur Waterbeds, this waterbed sells for just $225.99. How do we sell it for so little? Simple. We own the factory. That's how we keep quality high and prices low. $225.99 also buys the Oakhurst, the New York, the Balboa, this daybed, the Chantel, the Sedona, and more. Great comfort and factory direct savings from Big Sur Waterbeds, America's largest. 3715 Merle Hay Road at Douglas in Des Moines.
What do you get when you come to Midas for brakes? Great value for the price and a job done right. When it comes to brakes, nobody beats Midas. Nobody.
Long legs and great smiles. But do models need breast implants to get to the top?
I wasn't born with them, so I bought them.
Beauty and the breast. Is the latest fashion a dangerous trend? Plus, drugged with LSD, beaten with baseball bats, schools turned into battlefields, teachers battered by students, learning lessons the hard way. Join us for 2020.